Hello and welcome to my branded Despia deck presentation video. We play a 43 card pile, 21 monsters, 22 spells. Right now this deck feels perfect. Unfortunately I couldn't participate on the German nationals because I was on a birthday. But yeah, shit happens. But our goal stays still the same. We wanna do branded, maybe in the future a tier 1 deck. Right now all branded decks are tier 2, so if you wanna play a competitive deck, branded is the wrong one. Branded is a really fun deck, but it will be never tier 1. Yeah, if you didn't check out my last video where I explained to you how you can play with every hand, please check it out and leave me a comment and a like if you like this video. So we start with the deck list. I don't have much time, so it will be a little bit faster. We play one Lobelium or Seroneer, pretty classic. Seroneer, I know many people start to cut this card, but this card is actually really good. First of all, it's a 2500 ATK beta. It can be really dangerous against, for example, Sprite or stuff like that. Then they will need to waste their negate or start to interrupt you. So yeah, Seroneer, pretty good. And it's a pseudo starters like Cartesia and Seroneer can get you the branded fusion. Free Luba, always remember his graveyard effect. Right now Luba is the weakest line we can get, so it's not the preferred starter, but we have to play Luba because otherwise we would play two less starters. Yeah, one kit. Kit is crucial. A branded deck without kit is not a good branded deck. I explained it to you last time in my video where I did the Luber and Fusion deployment combo, which was first time I guess in YouTube. Yeah, you see there are many lines where you need to utilize kit, and kit is a decent starter. Then we play free Albas, pretty decent. Yeah, free Albas, first of all because of Runic. Runic is a pain in the ass. If they banish all your Albas, and banishing two Albas is possible. Yeah, so free Albas. And there's another reason why you play free Albas. I will explain it to you. First of all, Albas is a good card in your hand, you know. It's good for a discard because if you discard it, every branded line needs to discard at least one for Lobelion and one for the opening. So if you discard Albas, you utilize the Rindbrom line, you know, it's then alive and you have automatically one negate more on your board. And the other reason why we play Albas is how I can explain it to you why we play Albas. If your opponent, for example, has the negate, you can bait out the negate with the Albas. You can use Albas to even fusion summon, stuff like that. So Albas is a pretty good card. Yeah, that's why we play Albas. And it boosts our weakest line, the Luba line. With Albas we have one interruption more, so in total 5. Yeah. So two Cartesia, pretty classic. Nothing to say here, you can side one out, but I like to play two Cartesia. One Quam, one is enough. There is like only one situation where you want a second Quam, and this is if you start with the Luba. No. This is if you start with the branded fusion and opening and the Quam in the hand. Or with the Luba. No, it was with the Luba. Yeah, if you have the Luba, then you want the Quam, not in your hand. But one is enough. One Adlib. You need this. This is the... you know, you can side it out, but you have to play it in your main deck for game 1, and if you lose game 3 or 2. You know, one Tragedy. One Mercurio. Even if they are good and people want to play more, this is the perfect ratio. If you play Allure of Darkness, maybe you can play more, but otherwise 1-1. One of Albion Shrouded Dragon, this card is nuts. You know. One little note, first of all, you can special summon it too. if you discard a branded card from your hand. Always remember this if you want to go for the OTK. And the second reason, don't use the Albion first and then the Fusion, because then you can draw it, you know. I know the additional draw would be really cool, but if you already have the branded Fusion, just go first for the branded Fusion and then for the Albion. Otherwise you go directly for a lose. One Dragoon, like Dark Magician. You know, if you see a deck list with Odd Magician run, you know, be sure these branded players didn't do enough matches to do good decks. You know, if you do maybe over 200 matches, you will literally see no deck list with Odd Dragoon, because, you know, branded kills all decks which play with a board, with monsters on the board. But Dragoon kills all decks which plays with traps and spells, you know. So Dragoon is really good against some back row decks. Dragoon is really good against, you know, Labyrinth, Eldritch, all these stun decks and stuff like that. Dragoon is really good. So you have to play it, and with Duality, you have to play it even more. Free Ash Blossom. I don't have much to say to Ash Blossom. Ash Blossom is first of all a good interruption. We play it mainly as a crossout target, so maybe in future I will only play 2 Ash Blossom and 1 Bell. Ash Blossom, good against Branded, good against Labyrinth, you know, good against all these decks which are weak against. So yeah, that's why we play Ash Blossom. And 1 Bell, like I said, Bell mainly as a crossout target, not because the hand trap is good. The problem is this: Ash, Bell, you know, Imperm and Whaler all kills our decks. We can play around Imperm and the Whaler, you know, but we can't play around Bell. So we play 1 Bell as a crossout target, and as a hand trap it's not really good, but sometimes it's decent. You can side it out if you don't see, for example, you open and place a deck which is synergized with Spell, you know, stuff like that. This is a really good card to side off. Or if you see you can't use Spell against him. So yeah, this is sometimes a brick. I see this card as a brick. So free branded fusion, free opening, pretty classic. Remember, it's graveyard effect or opening, and branded fusion line is better than the Luba line. Free fusion deployment, free nadir, and free crossout +1 called by. So the reason, first of all, why we play like 7 anti-Ash cards is because not only Ash hits our deck, we can use crossout, for example, against Dark Ruler no more. We can use it against Evenly Matched, you know, the virus card, which can cause really cheap wins and stuff like that. So this is mandatory. You can't cut this. And this is my own idea. I thought, okay, the problem is this. Sometimes, yeah, if you get ashed, we can end still on a 2 interruption board, at least with this card. But the main reason to play Nadir Servant is, I thought, okay, just think like this. We start with the Luba line, for example, really weak. And with Nadir Servant, actually, we can do the weak line a little bit better. Because then we would have still an alive Mirror Jade. We wouldn't need to use it for the, you know, we wouldn't need to use banishment to get the opening. So we get card advantage, we get the better line and stuff like that. So that's why we play 1 Nadir Servant. Yeah. Then we play, and another reason why you play Nadir Servant is it boosts every line you go. So first of all, if you get ashed, if you get ashed or your branded fusion gets negated, you still have your place. And you can utilize the card really well. So Native Servant. And free deployment. Deployment is self-explanatory. You can go for the Dark Magician as a beta. You can go for Cartesia or Albas. So no, our extra deck, I explained to you why we have to play Dragoon. Dragoon is mandatory. And with Duality, it will be even better. Then we play 2 Mirror Jade, 1 Sanctified Dragon, 2 Albions and 1 Lobelion. And 1 Windbrom. This is all pretty classic now. There is nothing new. Then we play Grankniol. I will explain you later. Grankniol, 1 Chimera, 1 Dragostepelia, 1 Luluvelelith, Quertus, Titanic Light and Marlon. So yeah. And now I will explain it to you why we play these cards. You know, we play Grankniol. This is classic. We can't go for a second because I don't have the space for it. And you have to think like this. If you go for the opening or the branded fusion line, the game's already won. Okay, so you don't have to think much about it. But our weakest line where our opponent can win is the Luba line, because we end only on the Mirror Jade negate plus the Mercurial negate if you only open with Luba, and this happens often. Okay, so now with Grankniol we could send Marlon as our third interruption. You know, this would be make our bad line a little bit better, you know, and then we can use our fourth interruption, you know, and if we are lucky, we are not always lucky, but sometimes we are lucky and we can utilize the Grankniol and get, for example, the Luluvelelith as a fourth interruption, or we can get Quertus. So I see there is a big difference between 2 and 3 interruptions, and this guarantees also a third interruption. So we have to play Marlon. There's no discussion about it, and Marlon is even good in the other lines too. I will give you an example. For example, if you already have the Quam in your hand, in your start hand, with the Tragedy, you can search now, for example, what was the name of the card? The Adlib, you know, so you could dump later the Marlon with Grankniol, and this would allow you to play 1 interruption more, and you know, this is a perfect ceiling for the stack. So we play this Luluvelelith for Native Servant, and mainly for Native Servant and for for Grankniol. 1 Quertus. You can't cut this card. This card is actually too good. You know, this card wins games. And why Titanic Light? The thing is this, before people played, I know many people playing Sprint, but why I'm playing Titanic Light, there's a really easy reason. First of all, this is ultra rare. No, that was just a fun. So yeah, why we play Titanic Light, the reason is pretty simple. Sprint was a meme, you know, it's a meme card. People started playing Sprint. The origin why people played Sprint and branded was because there was a threat of Contact C, you know. But we know Contact C is no threat, we don't see this card. And then people thought, okay, with Sprint we can do a really cool Native Servant line, you know. I don't play this specific Native Servant line because I don't think it's worth to play. But you know, this was the main reason why people started playing Sprint. And then they saw, oh, okay, wait, sometimes you can go for Sprint with Albas and stuff like that, use its effect to pop the, what was the name? Their back rows. But the reason why I decided to play Titanic Light is, first of all, this card can give you the edge. You can dump the Titanic Light to get a Quam on the field, for example. You can use the Albas effect for Titanic Light, which you can't always use for Sprint, because Sprint monster have to special summon, you know, in this turn. So if our opponent plays a monster which was special summoned in the last turn and you draw Albas, you know, you can go for the Ash Dragon but not for Sprint. And the Ash Dragon can beat monsters with 4000 ATK, you know, because there is a possible way It's not always guaranteed, but you can go with this at least to over 3500 ATK over. So you can beat strong monsters with this card. And the other reason is, there's this Ignister monster which can get 4000 ATK, and if you can get the Shrouded Dragon in your hand with Titanic Plate, you have 4100 ATK, or the Shrouded Dragon on field. And yeah, then you could do game 2. These are our spells which I didn't show, sorry. We have one Foolish Burial, Classic, Sarcophagus. This will be cut out for Duality, Branded Red, Opening, Lost, Retribution, and Impermanence. Impermanence, really cool card, but I don't have the space for more. Yeah, this was our spell and traps and our Exa deck. Now I will go fast for the side deck. We have one Masquerade. This is because this is a real life deck. If you play in Dueling Book or stuff like that, you don't need Masquerade because you don't go for time. But in real life, sometimes if you play game 3, you have to play a card which can guarantee you the time win. 3, there can be only one 3 win against so many decks. 3 evenly, 3 virus, 3 dark ruler no more. And the thing is this, if our opponent plays, for example, first of all, virus is really good, this allows you to win against Labyrinth really easy. And the second reason why we play virus is this. So you have at least to play 1. You can play more. I play 3. I like 3 actually. But the reason is this. If our opponent plays Labyrinth, the Yugioh build, or if our opponent plays Dark World, and Dark World gets really popular too, or some other decks, and they use the virus card, and especially Dark World and Yugioh can go really easy for this. We can use the cross out and negate this, and then we just won, With evenly, it's the same. It's a cross out target 2, and Dark Ruler no more is a cross out target 2. Yeah, then we play, like I said, the Masquerade and 2 Cyclones. Sometimes I want to see the 3rd Cyclone if our opponent plays, I don't know, some Floodgates. But the problem is this with Floodgates. If they don't play Floodgates, Cosmic Cyclone is a card which you don't want to have in your hand. Then you want to rather play, I don't know, Dark Ruler no more, or the Virus card, evenly matched, stuff like that. But yeah, we have to play at least 2 Cyclones. So yeah, this was my deck presentation video. I hope you liked this video. If you like this, give me a subscribe, please. Write me in the comments you thought about this deck. Yeah, once we get the new booster series of Duality, we will play 3 Dualities and go down to 42, I guess. Yeah. So yeah, I hope you have a nice day and you liked the video.